Hello and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am asking your higher self for some messages. And I want to say, once again, I'm sorry if you can hear my cat. He is very upset because he's not allowed in the room because he likes to play with the jingle bells on the desk. So I'm sorry if you can hear him protesting. And with that said, please feel free to pause the video, take a second, pick whichever pile is speaking to you. And with that said, let's get into today's reading. Hello, Pile 1, and welcome to your reading. Today I have asked your higher self for any messages that they have for you, and this could be advice, maybe some insight, just anything that I thought might be helpful for you to hear. I will give the disclaimer that I am very sorry if you can hear my cat. He is upset because he's not allowed in here while I'm filming because he wants to play with the jingle bells on the desk. So I'm sorry if you can hear him. And the word that you have chosen with your reading today is divine. And I would take that, with the cards that we have here, I would take that as a confirmation from your higher self that you are a divine being, even if you might not be seeing yourself that way. I think that might be part of your message for today. I'm going to say that the way these cards are laid out, I think that it's likely that the first three cards are like one message from your higher self, and the last two cards are just some additional advice. I think that because the Two of Swords can talk about maybe needing to make a decision or a choice of some sort, I think that it could be that the Two of Swords is maybe the energy that you're in right now, and the advice from your higher self might be, you could go one way or the other. You could choose to embrace the Magician, or you could go the way of the Five of Swords. So that's why I think that these three cards are related, and I'll get into what I'm seeing with that. So the Two of Swords does talk about making a choice or a decision, and it can talk about feeling very confused and not really knowing how to move forward or where to go, like which way to turn. And when this card comes up, the advice can sometimes be to give yourself time to think it through. You might need to meditate, because I would say if there's advice from your higher self, it's as I said, like, let's embrace the Magician, let's avoid the Five of Swords. And the Magician is a card about embracing our personal power and our manifestation abilities, and I think that relates to the message of needing to kind of take a step back with the Two of Swords in order to figure out what the best choice is for you. I think that it might be that whatever you're confused about right now, or if you are in that kind of unsure how to move forward energy, it could be that you already know the answer, or like part of you knows the answer, or maybe your higher self knows the answer, and it could be that all you need in order to get to that information is to give yourself time to kind of sit down and meditate about it, and maybe ask your spirit guides for help or for signs or synchronicities or confirmations might be something that's helpful for you. I am getting the sense that whatever this confusion is, the way to get through it is to, swords is usually associated with our logical side, like intellect or rational thinking, puzzling things out with our mind. However, there can also be what the Two of Swords specifically might be saying: your mind can't help you here. It's important to rely on your gut instinct. It's important to rely on your intuition in order to figure out the way forward, because it could be, as I said, that part of you already knows what the right choice is for you. And it might just be a matter of embracing your personal power in this situation. I think that there might be a message, because the figure on the Two of Swords is blindfolded and she's kind of being tied up by these ravens. I think that there might be a message that the binds and the blindfolds, you can take those off. Like, they're pieces of string. It's not like, it's not like an iron chains, or her hands are pretty much free. She can take the blindfold off. Like, it's something that you can do. And I think what I'm hearing is you can do that by embracing your power of manifestation And the message with the Magician card, and why I think that's the kind of like positive advice here on how to get out of a Two of Swords energy, is embracing your power of manifestation by setting an intention, like taking the time to figure out what feels like the best move forward, and then setting your intentions towards it and using the power of manifestation, the power of positive thinking, the not listening to limiting self-beliefs, instead saying that these are my strengths, this is my wheelhouse, this is what I'm going to use to propel myself towards my goal. And with the Magician, I'm hearing the universe has your back. When you do that, when you step into your power like that, and you set the intention, say this is what I want, I'm going for it, the universe loves that, and they're going to support you. If it's in alignment, if the choice you're making is in alignment with who you are and your divine purpose, we do have the word divine up there, and you are being divinely guided, then your spirit guides and the universal forces are going to work with you so that you can be in the Magician energy. The Magician can manifest whatever they want. They're fully embracing that power. And so what I'm hearing is when you choose to do that, you can have whatever you want, whatever outcome you want. You can make that happen for yourself by embracing that power, if that makes sense. Then we have the Five of Swords. And the way I would interpret that is, if you choose to ignore your intuition in the situation, or you don't give yourself time to figure out how you feel about it and what your intuition is telling you about it, then you might end up in a situation with the Five of Swords where you might be trying to force something to happen. You might be trying to force yourself to make a choice before you really know what the right choice is. And that could what I'm hearing is that will probably end badly. That could create a lot of conflict in your life, and I think it's the opposite of the Magician. How do I want to say this? I'm feeling very tongue-tied right now, so I don't know if also you might be having trouble communicating, if that's an energy I'm picking up on. What I'm seeing is the Magician has the ability to effortlessly manifest the outcome that they want by setting intentions and having faith that their manifestations are going to come true. Like, that's part of the power of positive thinking is I know that the things that I want are coming towards me, and I have faith in the divine timing. Whereas with the energy of the Five of Swords kind of forcing something to happen is going against the grain of the universe. It's not working with the universe and co-creating with the universe. It's working against the grain of the universe and saying, I don't want to wait for divine timing. I want this thing to happen right now, the way that I want to have it to happen. And that's a way of acting that's usually out of alignment with our divine path, and with our intuition. So that would be my intuitive reading of these two cards. There's also a message with the Five of Swords about victory at a cost. It can talk about winning the battle and losing the war, having to sacrifice too much to achieve a certain outcome, or having to hurt other people or step on other people in order to get to a certain outcome. And that's part of the reason why I think that it's that like forcing something to happen energy is going to create destruction or create conflict in some way. It could also be a message that you might have people in your life, other people in your life, who are kind of like whispering in your ear, like the crow on this person's shoulder, and they might be telling you to do something or really kind of pushing you in a certain direction, and they don't have a good intentions. With the Five of Swords, it's a clear message. It's people who are in a negative energy, have bad intentions, might be very forceful or even like abusive on some level. And what you're being encouraged to do is to kind of separate yourself from that energy as much as you can, so that you can get to a place where you are able to listen instead to what your higher self knows, like what your intuition knows about this situation, what you innately know, what your soul knows about this situation, instead of listening to whoever's whispering in your ear or trying to force you to do something a certain way. That would be another interpretation, only take whatever resonates. And then there's a third thing that I'm being compelled to say with this Five of Swords card. I feel like this is kind of like the warning of the reading, like let's avoid this Five of Swords. There's also another message when this card comes out sometimes about needing to be really honest with ourselves about potentially self-sabotaging. So that might be, again, like if you're confused about something, or you need to make some sort of a decision here with the Two of Swords, or you're not sure about the path forward, there's some uncertainty here. Something self-sabotaging would be either choosing not to make a choice at all, or choosing just to avoid the situation instead of embracing the fact that, we need to make a choice one way or the other, and kind of stepping into our power. With the Magician, it's saying like, I don't want to deal with this at all because it's too overwhelming, and maybe doing like anxious avoidant behaviors, or any kind of avoidant behavior at all, maybe trying to engaging in escapism instead of dealing with whatever needs to be dealt with here. Or another example of a self-sabotage would be making a reckless choice because you're feeling anxious, or because it's so uncomfortable to be in that Two of Swords energy, which I totally sympathize with. But it could be like, I'm so uncomfortable in this energy, I'm gonna make a choice just to have it off my plate. And generally that might not result in the outcome that you want. And I think that's what you're being advised not to do here. I think that because the Two of Swords is talking about taking a step back and giving yourself time to figure out which decision here is the right one for you, there's a definite advice against just making a compulsive decision just to be able to move forward at all. So I think that clear advice from your higher self: you give yourself the time to figure out how you feel about this situation. That's going to be very helpful for you here. And it might be, with the Magician card, might be a good idea to give yourself time, carve out some time in your schedule to really clear your mind. Maybe do some meditation, maybe look up manifestation methods. There's like a ton of tutorials online and on YouTube about simple manifestation work, scripting, whatever that means for you. I think kind of like embracing your power to create a positive outcome for yourself is going to maybe help you figure out what that outcome should be. Does that make sense? Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm going to move on to the Queen of Pentacles. And when I initially pulled this card, the first thought that popped into my head was, this might represent one of your spirit guides. That was the first thing that popped into my head. I was getting like a sort of a maternal energy of like a maternal spirit guide. Then a second interpretation popped into my head immediately after that. So I'm going to give all my interpretations. I thought that it might have been a representation of your higher self. This could be the energy of your higher self, and it could be a way for your higher self to say, if this is a piece of advice from them, could be saying, a positive thing to do would be to try to align your energy with a Queen of Pentacles sort of energy. It might also be reassurance, if this is a spirit guide or a maternal figure in your life, that you are loved, you're being protected, and you're safe. So, it could be a message of love from spirit and or your higher self. I take that however it resonates. If you need to know that you're being supported, there's a message here that yes, you are. And this could also represent your energy. Like, as I said, it could be something that if this is advice, might be, let's try to embrace the energy of the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is very nurturing, loves spending time with family and friends, very down to earth and practical. She takes care of her responsibilities and makes time to enjoy life's pleasures, and is sort of a more maternal energy. It's a queen tends to have that sort of maternal aspect. So, and that could just be related to taking care of yourself. Like there's, it's the Queen of Pentacles can also be associated with self-care, and that might also be connected with the Two of Swords, is taking that time out for yourself, for your own benefit. The Queen of Pentacles can have a message about like the basics of self-care in terms of the physical world, because it's Pentacles, which could be just like, eating nutritious food at regular intervals, trying to get enough sleep, drinking water, if you need to take a bath, to do that. If you need to take a nap, to do that. It's like the simple, practical ways of taking care of ourselves, and doing that as a way to nurture ourselves, is part of like the maternal aspect of this card. So if that's something that's helpful for you, then that is, I think, something that you're also being encouraged to do, in addition to potentially the meditation / manifestation work associated with the Magician. And then we have the Hermit in reverse, and this card, I usually take it as a sign that it's time to step out of our hermit mode. Not saying that you've been in hermit mode, but if you have been in hermit mode, the advice here would be it's time to step out again. Hermit mode can be, the hermit when it's upright can talk about isolation, but like a necessary isolation where we're doing like self-discovery and taking time out from the world and other people, usually, to focus on ourselves and do self-discovery work, self-healing work, and that kind of thing. Because it's in reverse, and because the Queen of Pentacles is here, and the Queen of Pentacles, as I said, is somebody who enjoys spending quality time with loved ones, that might be a part of a message here, is something that might be helpful for you is if you have people in your life that you would associate with the Five of Swords, who maybe don't necessarily have your best interest at heart, or they might be trying to push you in a certain direction that you might not feel is right, or you might not know if that's right for you. The advice here would be to avoid those people. Try to find someone who's in more of a Queen of Pentacles energy, or is maybe more calm and chill. That's really the vibe I get from the figure on the Queen of Pentacles card. Like, she's just, hanging out. Like, she doesn't have a care in the world. Like, she takes care of the things she needs to take care of, but she's not concerned about it. If you have someone in your life that who's in that energy, I think that you might be encouraged to spend time around those people and really focus on cultivating those relationships, because your isolation in this situation is not going to help you here. What's going to help you is by finding people who are in like a gentle, nurturing kind of energy, who are not going to try to force you to make one decision or another, and spending time with those people who really help raise your vibration, I think, is going to help you become more in touch with whichever choice or decision or path forward is the right thing for you. Like, I think that's going to help you get to a place where it becomes clearer what feels right for you. So I would say that's, I think, the reason why the Queen of Pentacles and the Hermit reversed, I think, are related. I think you're being told specifically to seek out people who are high vibrational and have a calm demeanor, who are not going to put pressure on you one way or the other. I think that's going to be helpful for you here. If you don't know anybody like that in the physical world, then it could also be like reach out to spirit, reach out to your spirit guides, reach out to even like trying to connect to your higher self in meditation. If this Queen of Pentacles is a representation of the energy of your higher self, then it could be a message from them, like, I'm here, I'm ready to help you. Like, we can work through this together. I know what the choice is that's in alignment with your divine path. Like, let's talk. Reach out. Let's talk. Like, let's not keep isolating. Let's have a conversation here. So, you can step into that Magician energy and really start making things happen that are in alignment with your divine path. So that's what I'm seeing for the first part of your reading here, pile 1. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to move now on to the oracle cards, which are just going to be some additional advice. Okay, pile 1. So here we have your oracle cards, and I want to say I'm being called to readdress the fact that you chose the word divine. and to reiterate the message that you are being divinely guided. And you probably already know what to do here. I'm getting the message. I with these cards, like, I hate to say this, and I don't mean it in a judgmental way, that the message I'm getting from your higher self is you might be in denial here. It might be that you really, really need to take a hard look and be very honest with yourself, because I get the sense that you already know what to do, and or your higher self might be really trying to get in touch with you in terms of sending you messages and sending you intuitions and gut feelings and like they're trying to help you here. And it seems like you might be maybe even unconsciously ignoring it. And so you're just being urged, I'm not trying to be judgmental. I think you might just be being like urged by your higher self, like please sit down. You have more power than you think you do in this situation, and it's time to sit down and really work on accepting what you already know to be true. So I hope that that's helpful. That's something that was really coming through strongly as I was looking at your oracle cards. So I am going to go through card by card. So we're going to start up top with the Moonology cards, and they both carry a similar message, and it's pretty straightforward. We have the full moon in Cancer, which says a personal issue reaches resolution, and we have the gibbous moon, which says you're very close to achieving your goal. So I would say that whatever this Two of Swords situation is talking about, it's going to resolve soon, one way or the other. You're very close to getting to where you need to go. What I'm hearing is that final step forward has to come from you, and it's probably going to involve embracing your personal power in the situation, whatever that means for this situation. What I'm drawn to with Cancer is it's kind of bringing me back to that kind of maternal nurturing energy I was seeing in the Queen of Pentacles. So I wanted to address that as a bit of an extra kind of confirmation that might be related to you being in alignment. And I would see the energy of Cancer also being connected with the Archetype card that says Rescuer. And I'll get into that in a second. So I think when it says you're very close to achieving your goal, I think that might be related to the idea that you might already intuitively know which way to go. And the power of the Magician card, I think, is that as soon as you accept that and start making steps towards something that is in alignment with your divine plan, you're gonna manifest things very quickly. Like it's gonna become, it's like intuitive, it's easy. I think that you have a huge ability to manifest whatever you want here, and I am getting the sense that once you start doing it, it's just gonna flow. Like you're very close to achieving your goal. You can have any outcome you want here. It's just a matter of embracing that Magician energy, whatever that means for you. So I'm going to talk first about the Rescuer cards, and then I'll get into the Chakra Wisdom cards. So the Rescuer cards, it came out with the light attributes, which says provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. And when this card came out, I was initially like, oh, is this somebody who is maybe a little bit too self-sacrificing? Like if somebody, it could be in the shadow attributes, could be about accommodating others to the point where we're not taking care of ourselves. It's like always needing to be rescuing and taking care of other people. It can become very unhealthy and imbalanced. However, I'm seeing that it came out as the light attribute. So I'm seeing this as like the positive side of the Cancer nurturing Queen of Pentacles energy, wanting to take care of people with genuine love and support, and doing that out of the kindness of your heart, like just like the altruistic version of wanting to help people. And I would say, if whatever you're confused about is kind of the divine path, maybe you might be thinking about which career you want to pursue, or whatever that is. I think this is a message from your higher self that being in the light attribute of the rescuer energy of taking care of people who are in crisis and offering support to people, that is in alignment with your path. So however that applies to whatever situation you're in with the Two of Swords, that you're getting a very big clue from your higher self here. It has to do with taking care of other people in a genuine, authentic way of really wanting to help them. It's not about getting anything for yourself out of the situation. It's because you genuinely care about helping people. So again, however that applies to your situation, I think if you can see an option or a path forward that is related to this rescuer card, I think that is what you're being urged to embrace here. And there's something else I wanted to move to the chakra cards, but I'm being called to give an additional message here with the rescuer card. It could be that in the past you might have been in an imbalanced energy with the rescuer card. You might have tried to rescue people who did not want to be rescued or who took advantage of that kind and nurturing nature. Especially because we had the Five of Swords card come out. That could be something that you've done in the past has come back to bite you, because there were people around you who had bad intentions, who were very manipulative and cutthroat, and they might have used that. They knew that your intentions were genuine. They might have used that against you in some way. That might be part of your past, or part of something that could cause you to be in that Two of Swords kind of confusion energy of, well, how can I help people when, I've been hurt so badly, or like I just don't know how to move forward in this situation. And the advice in that situation is to take care of yourself first. It's that self-care nature of the Two of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. It's like prioritizing your own needs, making sure you fill up your own cup first, giving yourself the life preserver when you need it, instead of always giving it to everyone else. So it's like there might just be, if that's part of what's going on here for you, there might be an additional thread of advice that's about prioritizing self-care. That might be the way to ensure that you don't get taken advantage of again. If that's helpful for you, if that resonates for you. Then we do have the victim card, so that could be something that definitely is part of your past. And again, I would equate the victim card with being related to that Five of Swords. However, the message of the victim card, I would interpret as a positive thing, because it can talk about, even though I have been victimized, I am not a victim. I have power over my situation, and I'm going to do the things that I choose to do. And it's really, to me, it's also related to that Magician card, because it's like saying, like, again, even though I might have been victimized by other people in the Five of Swords, I can choose with the Magician card, I can choose what I want to do next, and I can choose not to stay in that victimhood. I can choose to step out of that and take control over the direction of my life and do the things that I want to do and that I choose to do for me. And I will say this card's also connected with the heart chakra. And so there is, I would say that as an additional message, that it's important to listen to your heart in this situation, in order so that you can make a decision on how to move forward that's best for you. Then we also have the Perseverance card. And I think this card's definitely related to the Moonology cards up top. I think it's additional encouragement from your higher self, that as soon as you choose to move forward on this issue in a way that is in alignment. I know I've said alignment so many times during this reading, but that's really the best way I know how to describe it. If you choose to move forward in a way that's in alignment with the things that you know are right for you, things are going to come in very quickly. You're very close to achieving your goal. You have the power of the Magician. You just need to step into it. And you need to do that by persevering. There's a message when this card comes out. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. You're almost there. You're so close. And whatever, if this is a personal issue, it's going to reach resolution. You're almost at the end. It's important to take some time here and really figure out what is best for you in this situation, so that you can move forward in a way that's going to allow you to manifest the outcome that you want here. And the other thing I wanted to say is part of the reason why at the top of this Oracle card reading, I was getting the sense that there was a message about, the needing to take an honest look, especially about self-sabotage, with another message of the Five of Swords, is because that's also associated with the victim card. Here is, taking an honest look at the ways in which we might be in denial about something. And especially, again, it's associated with the heart chakra. It could be something in your heart that you might be trying to deny. Or you might have other people, or you might have other people in your life trying to deny it to you, even though your higher self knows the truth, right? So there's a message here not to ignore the truth that you know on a soul level, because by embracing that, you're going to have whatever outcome you want here. Like, that's going to help you achieve your goals. I hope that was helpful, Pile 1. I felt like it was a little bit all over the place, but those were kind of the messages that I was getting here. I do want to reiterate that you are being divinely guided and you're being divinely protected, and your higher self has your best intentions at heart. They're not trying to be judgmental either when they say, it might be a time to take a hard look at what is or isn't working for you, and you might already know the answer to this. You might be a little bit in denial about it. They're just saying that to be helpful. They're just trying to say that because you might not even realize that that's something that you need to hear. That's kind of the message that I'm getting here. So I hope that was helpful, Pile 1. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. Please comment down below and let me know how it resonated for you. And if you'd like to see more from me, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you in my next video. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading. If you chose the word live, then this will be your reading for today. And I have to say, given the cards here, that the word live seems to be what you are being encouraged to do by your higher self. So I didn't plan it that way. It just seems to be very much in alignment with today's reading. I think the overall message from your higher self is that you are being encouraged to be bold, to embrace being at the beginning of a new cycle or the start of something new, to embrace being in kind of an adventurer's mindset, and to try to the best of your ability to let go of your fears and anxieties about the outcome. If you need confirmation and to hear that the thing you're about to embark on is going to work out for you, the confirmation is in this reading. And the reason why I'm saying that is I'm going to get into the cards now. The reason why I'm saying that is because we have the sun. And it is reversed. However, the sun, whether it's reversed or upright, is still a card that talks about success. It's like getting a yes from the universe. It's saying whatever you wanted is coming your way. And it carries a message about feeling very positive and happy and uplifted. I would associate this card also with, sharing your light with the world. And again, like even when it's reversed, it still carries that message of positivity, success, a yes from the universe. However, when it's reversed, the way that I think about it is, it's like if a cloud came in front of the sun, however, the sun is still there, we just can't see it right now. So that's kind of how I would interpret this card showing up in reverse. It's saying you might be struggling to believe or have faith that whatever this new thing you are about to embark on is going to succeed. This I would take as assurance that your higher self can see things that you can't see. And they see that you are going to be successful in this. And that it's important to have faith in that so that you can enjoy the journey that you're going on. I'd say like this success is coming in for you regardless, like no matter what you choose to do, it's coming towards you. However, you're being urged by your higher self with the other cards here in your reading. You're going to have a lot more fun and a much better time if you can work on letting go of the outcome and having faith that it's going to work out the way that you want it to. There might be a need to release kind of comparison with other people, or to just work on affirmations and building like positive thought patterns in terms of, if you notice yourself going in like a kind of a negative thought spiral, to consciously stop and say, okay, I know this is going to work out, and I'm going to let go of the outcome. My higher self has told me I'm going to be successful at this, and I'm going to enjoy the process. I'm going to focus not on my fears about what might happen. Instead, I'm going to focus on the parts of this process that I do enjoy and that I am having fun with, and how I can help cultivate that fun for myself. Like how can I make this process more enjoyable for myself rather than dwelling on your anxieties about the future, if that makes sense. So the reason why I'm saying that is, so we have the Fool, and the Fool is the very first card in the tarot deck. And because of this, it often carries a message about being at the beginning of a new cycle. We're starting something new. It's about, the Fool is not an insult. It's not saying you are a fool. It's about more like being in an energy where we've released the baggage of the past. We've kind of put it down, and we're starting on a new adventure in a carefree, unburdened, like just very excited and happy energy. You can see the person on the Fool card is just, she's just vibing, like she's just feeling very free. And enjoying being out in nature. And it seems to me like, even if she went tumbling over the side of this cliff, she'd fall into a pool of water and it would be fine. It's that kind of attitude towards something new. And that, I think, is what, first, that's a message for me that you might be at the beginning of something new. It's also a message for you that I think that's the kind of attitude that your higher self wants you to embrace. And what I can see is that you might be facing a barrier created in your own mind by your own thoughts, because we have that being followed by the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is a card that almost always has a negative message. It's associated with anxiety, sleepless nights, grief, guilt, just our thoughts keeping us awake, a lot of emotional turmoil, like replaying something in your head over and over again. How could I do that differently? It's our fears about the future, not being able to relax about it. It's like thoughts swirling around. You can see on the card, it seems like this person is having trouble sleeping because of all these thoughts being represented as ravens up there. And what I do think is interesting is on this card, we have a lot of black ravens, and then we also kind of have a spectral white raven that's also being included in here. And so the way I would interpret that is you might be struggling with your fears, anxieties, dark thoughts, and especially because we have the Fool and the Page of Wands here, maybe your fears about a new beginning. Maybe you're afraid to take that first step forward. Maybe you're afraid of what the eventual outcome is going to be. Maybe it might just be a fear of change, a fear of the unknown. Whatever it is, I would see that being represented by these black ravens here. However, there's a message here that there are positive thoughts trying to come in, and because this white raven is spectral, it's transparent, it could be that your higher self and or your spirit guides are trying to come in and let you know that everything's going to be okay. You could be seeing or you could be receiving synchronicities, or what am I trying to say? They could be trying to send you synchronicities, gut feelings, positive thoughts, positive dreams. However, they could be trying to communicate with you that everything's going to be okay. And it is. The sun card is here, and it just seems like your dark thoughts, all those dark ravens in your head, are not allowing that positive message to get through. And so I think that there is probably a strong message here from your higher self that you are creating a lot of extra anxiety for yourself and extra turmoil for yourself than is needed here. Like it's okay and totally normal to have anxieties and fears and dark thoughts sometimes. However, there's a need here when the Nine of Swords comes out to really kind of put some effort towards mitigating those thoughts, because they're no longer helpful. In fact, with the Nine of Swords, I'd say that they're becoming disruptive and destructive. Like, it's a destructive force. It's not helpful anymore. And so you are being encouraged to do whatever work you need to do in order to try to begin releasing those thoughts and those fears. And if you're looking for like specific practical advice, I would say meditation's probably going to be very helpful, especially if your spirit guides and your higher self have been trying to get through to you. I think that carving out even just a few minutes to sit down and try to clear your mind might be very helpful. Journaling might be something that might really help you if you enjoy writing, or if you're just having trouble kind of getting your thoughts in order, or you're feeling like maybe a little bit chaotic. Writing them down might help you kind of figure some things out. I want to say I, in particular, have had a lot of success. I love taking baths. I'm a big bath person. I love the whole process of, I live in a cold country, so having like a hot bath and a candle and a good book, like that's really therapeutic for me. But I have had success bringing my journal into the bath and just kind of hanging over the side of the bath trying to write in my journal. It actually has helped me so much just to be in like a calm, safe, peaceful space and try to get my thoughts in order, especially when I'm feeling very anxious or chaotic. So if that's something that's helpful for you, that would be another suggestion. Or it might be worth just sharing, even if it's with strangers on the internet, just kind of like getting it out to other people, speaking with somebody you trust. And just kind of like releasing it, work on releasing it. And something that might be helpful that just popped into my head is if you are planning to journal about it, might be writing it on loose leaf paper, like your fears and whatever your thoughts that you're having are. Just write it all down on a piece of paper, and then you can do like a release ritual, which can be as simple as saying like, please help me release these fears and these thoughts, and please help me let go of the outcome here, and to take that next step forward with joy and bravery. And then I would see you kind of like holding up a lighter or doing it in a safe way, but maybe burning those pages to kind of release that stuff because you don't need it anymore. It's not serving you at this point. So I hope that's helpful. That's the advice that's coming to me from the Nine of Swords card here. We also have the Five of Wands in reverse, which could provide some additional context as to why the Nine of Swords card is here. And I could interpret this in two ways. There was one way that came to me intuitively when I first saw this card, and then there was another way that I know is associated with this card when it's in reverse. So I'm going to start with my intuitive interpretation, and that was because the Five of Wands upright is a card about like a healthy competition. It can sometimes carry a message about being inspired by the success of other people. So it's like, I see that this person who I admire is having a lot of success, and so I'm going to push myself to achieve that same level of success, like in a healthy way. When it's reversed, I'm kind of getting the intuitive message that this might be a case where comparison is the thief of joy, where we're so concerned with comparing ourselves to the success of others that we cannot enjoy the process of whatever we're trying to achieve, if that makes sense. And that can also be really like intertwined with the second interpretation, which is when something that we have embarked on turns out to be much harder than we initially thought, and it becomes like a real challenge, and so when this card comes out reverse, it can sometimes be because we're considering giving up on something, because it's like we're just meeting obstacle after obstacle, and it's becoming difficult. And I could see both interpretations contributing to a Nine of Swords, something that we're very, very anxious about, or very like really worrying about. If either of those Five of Swords interpretations applies to you. And they could also be related, as I was saying. Like I could see even saying like, I'm having so much, like I'm really struggling, or I'm having so much trouble with this thing that it seemed so easy for other people to do. So maybe it's not meant for me, or maybe I'm not going to be successful at it. And then that kind of keeping us awake at night and having like going on kind of a downward thought spiral, as I was talking about. If that's the case for you, the message here from your higher self is, it's understandable. It's okay. However, the way to get out of that is you got to change your attitude. It's the change has to come from you. And when it does, you're going to be in this Page of Wands energy, and the Page of Wands can do anything. The Fool can do anything. You have the sun behind you. It's just maybe behind a cloud right now. You're going to be successful. And the Page of Wands is a great energy to be in. The Page of Wands is someone who is very kind of similar to the Fool in terms of being willing to take that first step, being brave and courageous and excited about going on a new adventure. And you can kind of see, I think, on the Page of Wands card, this page is just like throwing their wand up in the air, like they're having fun with it. She's just like, yeah, going on an adventure. This is the best day ever. I'm having a great time. And it's kind of echoing the carefree energy of the Fool for me. And if I'm reading this spread as a whole, I would say that's probably the overall message from your higher self is to work on letting go of whatever your fears are here with this Nine of Swords, so that you can embrace the adventure that is awaiting you, because your higher self is pretty much guaranteeing success with whatever this is. You have the Sun card, and even if that success doesn't come immediately, there are more obstacles than you thought they would be, or if it's a harder process than you thought it was going to be, then the advice would just be to try your best to focus on the parts of the process that are pleasurable, that are fun, that are exciting, and try to let go as much as you can of the fears and anxieties that you're experiencing. I hope that was helpful, pile 2. I will say again, that's pretty much just my intuitive reading here, and I think it is very connected with the live card, the message or the live word that was part of your reading today. I think you're being encouraged to embrace the adventure of life, despite the fears and anxieties you might be experiencing. So that's going to be the first part of your reading, and now I am going to move on to your oracle cards. All right, pile 2. So here we have your oracle cards. And I want to say there's some confirmations here in terms of the interpretation that I gave in the first part of your reading. If there's confirmations for me here specifically about the fact that you are going to be successful. And I think that if there's advice here from your higher self, it's that what needs to change here in order to get you out of that Nine of Swords is you. I think it's time to put energy towards working on self-esteem and working on having a faith that you can have the things that you want, because you can. That's the message here. You're going to be successful. It's in the cards for you. It's in the stars for you. It's part of your path to be successful and to shine a light for other people, to be an inspiration for other people. That's part of your life's path. And therefore, if there's a change that needs to be, as I said, if there's a change that needs to be made here, I think it's about changing your perspective and maybe working on affirmations and self-esteem. So I just wanted to reiterate that at the top of the oracle cards, because that is being repeated here for me in a few of the cards. So I'm going to get into it. We have your Moonology cards, and first we have Believe in the Impossible with the blue moon, and I would say that is definitely related to what I was just saying about you are going to be successful. And not only that, it's saying believe in the impossible. So it could be that saying that whatever you think you're capable of, you're actually capable of more than that. And what needs to change here is the self-belief, the belief in your ability to achieve things that you might not even be willing to admit to yourself that you want to achieve. It's believe in the impossible, because nothing is impossible. It's all on the table for you. And that's like a direct message from your higher self. You can do anything, especially the things that you really want, especially the things that you don't necessarily believe that you can do right now. So that's a positive message of encouragement there. And that there also, before I forget, I want to say something that might be helpful for you might be scripting, specifically if you're trying to manifest a certain outcome for yourself. Scripting might be something that's very helpful for you, and that's also something that I think might be connected with the other Moonology card, which is the full moon in Taurus, which says your dreams need a practical plan. And I could see that being related to if we're talking about the Fool and the Page of Wands could be saying something that might be helpful in you taking that first step forward is writing down exactly what you do want to achieve, or even like what the next step towards that would be, to kind of maybe make it a little bit easier for yourself. And maybe if you're afraid of the outcome, or if you're afraid to kind of speak it out loud, or afraid to kind of admit that you really want something, writing it down might be helpful for you, and it's a great way to manifest things. And it's your higher self is saying, believe in the impossible, and let's take a step forward. Let's make a practical plan on how we're going to achieve the next part of making your dreams come true. So there's a message to kind of embrace the practical side of Taurus, to make a plan, even if the plan seems impossible or seems like ludicrous right now. Like, this is never going to happen for me. I can't have that. I'm not good enough. Whatever your limiting self-belief is, the message I'm getting is write it down anyway, make a plan anyway, and then work on having the courage to take that first step towards it. That's, I think, what these two cards here are encouraging you to do. I also want to point out that because this full moon in Taurus card has both green and pink on it, I would say it's associated with the heart chakra. So there might be a need to kind of look into your heart, and kind of, I was talking about meditation earlier. Might be an idea to meditate on your heart chakra. Might help you. If you're having trouble figuring out what it even is that you want, might help you get to that place where you're able to vocalize what you want, if that's helpful for you to hear. And the fact that the Believe in the Impossible card does have the kind of dark blue color of the third eye chakra is telling me that it's likely that your spirit guides and higher self have been trying to send you messages of affirmation and letting you know, like, whatever you want, you can have it. We had the Sun card in the last part of the reading. You can have it. And I would see the message of the Sun card also being repeated here in the Miracle card. And the Miracle card is a beautiful card. I think it carries a beautiful message. It's associated with the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with things like self-esteem and with taking practical steps forward. We're like being willing, ready, and able to take a step towards what we want. And this card specifically carries a message about doing something that's in alignment with your morals, doing something that's in alignment with your divine path, and shining a light, like being a light, a shining beacon of light, even if the people around you are not doing the same. So you can be an inspiration for other people just by being your authentic self, just by doing things that are in alignment with who you are and are in alignment with your life's purpose. And I'm seeing, like, just by being in that Page of Wands Fool energy, you are creating inspiration for other people. And it's a great way to embrace a positive message of positive self-esteem and of going after what you want. Because seeing you achieve your dream and be successful at it is going to be so inspiring for other people. And it might seem to them like it's a miracle, and we do have like the word impossible, it might seem like there was a lot to overcome. We had the Five of Wands reversed. The message here is that you can and will do it. The key to doing it is going to be letting go of those limiting self-beliefs and any negative self-talk that you might be engaging in right now. And also, I'm hearing it will be worth it. It'll be worth overcoming that Five of Wands to get to this miracle that you want. And you can, and you will. So the other chakra card we have here is the Vanity card. And I want to say this is not your higher self saying that you need to be vain or calling you vain. It carries a message about seeking validation outside of ourselves. So I would say it is associated with the throat chakra, this card. However, I would say it's also very much associated with the solar plexus because it's about self-esteem. It's like when we no longer need to seek validation outside of ourselves, we can achieve a sort of peace with anything that happens. Because this card can also talk about when I achieve a certain level, or when I get to a certain place, or when I have a certain amount of money, or a certain token of status that I really want, then I'll be happy, or then I'll be successful, or then I will have really made it. When the reality is those things are not inherently value, they're not, how do I want to say this? When we're constantly chasing the next thing, it's really difficult to be genuinely happy where we are. Does that make sense? And it's I know for me, I had to kind of embrace the paradox of I need to be happy with my life the way that it is right now. And that's something that I need to put work and energy towards embracing if I ever want to be happy when my life improves. And it will continue to improve. It's I need to kind of make peace with my life as it is right now, and focus on the parts of my life that are very enjoyable right now, the parts of my life that I am grateful for, the adventures that I do get to go on, the fact that I do have many possibilities open to me. I need to work on focusing on that rather than focusing on comparing myself to other people, or saying, I don't have that yet, and when I do have that, then I will be successful. Because I'm successful right now just by showing up as my authentic self. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling. Hopefully that's helpful in explaining what this vanity card means. It does carry a message about, also because it's associated with the throat chakra, it carries a message about being in our authentic truth, and then speaking our authentic truth. Because we are no longer looking for external validation. So we've kind of embraced who we are because we've validated ourselves. We found that validation internally. And therefore now we can share that with other people. And I am getting that message, the echoed message about shining your light, sharing that with other people. There was with the sun card, I would also say definitely associated with shining your light and sharing that with other people, and that's going to be very inspiring to other people. So if you've been looking trying to get a dream off the ground, to put it that way, there's definitely a strong message here from your higher self to really work on building up your self-esteem and your sense of worthiness and your sense of confidence. And I think that's really going to help everything come in much faster. And then try, I know it's much easier said than done, but trying to avoid limiting self-beliefs and trying to embrace the idea that you can have whatever dream you think might be impossible right now. So now I'm going to move on to the Archetype card, which is the Seeker card, and it came out with the light attribute, which is thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. And so I would say this is also connected with that idea of speaking our authentic truth, being our authentic self. And when we're looking for wisdom and truth wherever they are, that can also be related to what I was seeing with the full moon in Taurus about needing to figure out what your heart's desire is, figuring out what this impossible dream is for you, that the truth of that. And then I think, since we had messages about your higher self and spirit guides trying to get in touch with you, there might be a message here in the search for wisdom, that it might be an idea to try to connect with spirit. It could be, and to connect with your higher self, because it could be that there are things here that you're not seeing that are part of your truth. There could be nuggets of wisdom that spirit's trying to relay to you that might not be getting through right now. And I think that this card is also very, very connected with both the Fool and that Page of Wands energy. I think the figure on this card is they're going on a journey. They're going on a journey and they're looking for wisdom and truth, and they're not focusing on illusions or fears or negative thoughts and negative beliefs. They're just saying, I just want to gain wisdom and discover what the truth is. And it's, I think, definitely embracing that energy of I'm going on an adventure and I'm going to see where it takes me, because I can be in that beginner's mindset. I can be in that kind of learner's mindset and really enjoy the journey and the search for wisdom and truth. And I would also see this card as being connected with my initial interpretation of the Five of Wands, which was talking about comparison being the thief of joy. I think that there might be a need to like stop comparing yourself to other people as much as possible. I know it's next to impossible because we're human beings, and it's so innate to human nature to compare ourselves to other people. However, just to try and put a limit on that as much as possible, and try and embrace the truth and the wisdom of the matter, which is that if you're seeing things like people's success, like on social media or on the TV, or even people I know in real life, I've had people where I felt inadequate and disheartened because they were successful at things that I really struggled with, and then I had to learn over the years to shift my perspective, because there are things that those people really struggle with that I never got to see. That they're like, nobody's life is perfect, and what people post on social media and what they show on the TV, and even like close friends sometimes, like it's not necessarily the whole truth. There can be a lot that's hidden underneath the surface because people, I'm making a huge generalization here, but a lot of people don't like feeling vulnerable, and so they don't like showing the sides of themselves that they don't like, if that makes sense. So the way that I kind of have started to overcome that is by reminding myself that I'm not the only person in the world who feels insecure. 95% of people, I would say, have some level of insecurity. There's a ton of people, I think, who hide it really well, and then there's maybe like a handful of people who are sociopaths, or narcissists who genuinely don't feel insecure, and then there's people who have done a lot of work and are at a very high vibration who might not struggle with insecurity a lot. But I'd say the vast majority of people are just as, they're struggling just as much as the next person. And that kind of helps normalize other people for me and helps me stop kind of like othering myself and making myself feel bad when I don't need to feel bad. There's nothing to feel bad about, and there's nothing for you to feel bad about. That's kind of where I'm getting at in my long and rambling story here. I hope that what I've tried to get across here today, Pile 2, has been helpful for you. I hope I didn't come across as being preachy. I think that the basic message, as I said, from your higher self is just to, embrace the journey and try to let go of your limiting self-beliefs. There's some practical advice for you in terms of like meditation, journaling, scripting, trying to connect with spirit as much as you can, affirmations, working on self-esteem. I think that's all going to be very helpful for you here. And to try to get into kind of that seeker mindset of like, I'm going to try to embrace the adventure of this new beginning rather than focusing on what might go wrong here. Because again, you're getting a lot of assurances from your higher self that you will ultimately be successful, even if what you're going through right now is difficult. So I hope that was helpful, Pile 2. If you liked this video, please feel free to give it a like. Let me know down below in the comments how it resonated for you. And if you liked my video and you'd like to see more from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And with that said, I hope to see you in my next video. Hello there, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. I want to say right off the bat, I am recovering from a surgery, so I'm sorry if I am a little bit lower energy today. And also, my cat might start yelling for food soon. It's okay, he has an auto feeder, and he will get fed. So just wanted to say that right off the bat. Today's reading, I have asked your higher self for any messages that they have for you. And the word that you chose with this pile is gentle. And I can understand why that word is associated with this pile based on the cards that we have here today. And I do want to assure you that whatever you're going through right now is not the end of the story. And it is going to get better. And that's partly based on what you choose to be, it's partly based on what you choose to do next. And you're being given some, I think it's clear advice from your higher self here in terms of which energy your higher self is urging you to be in as you move towards a new cycle, the next phase, when you're getting away from this Five of Swords reversed energy and heading towards the King of Swords energy. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So the Five of Swords reversed is not a very happy place to be. It usually is talking about a situation where we are surrounded by a lot of negativity. We could be surrounded by toxic people. We can feel like we're being constantly attacked by other people, or just dealing with people who are very controlling or manipulative, who usually don't have our best interests at heart. And it can create a feeling of just being very overwhelmed, and perhaps feeling like just being surrounded by negativity. And it kind of takes the cutthroat energy. I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking outside. I don't know what's going on, but it kind of takes that cutthroat energy of the Five of Swords upright and applies it in a way that's like either somebody has been very cutthroat with you, or it's like your environment is kind of embodying that feeling. So it can also come up if we've been like bullied, like people who have been bullying or trying to control us or like abusing us in some way. That can put us into a Five of Swords reversed energy here. And again, I could understand why the word gentle came up, because it seems like you have not been treated gently by the other people in your life here, whoever or whatever in your life is causing this Five of Swords reversed. I do want to say with these cards here, there are like two possible different interpretations, and I'm going to say the one that I'm feeling intuitively, and then I will give the second interpretation at the end. If you feel like my intuitive interpretation is not really applying to you, then I'll give the second interpretation and just take whatever resonates. So the first interpretation with these cards is that you as what I said about the Five of Swords, feeling surrounded by people who are very negative, or being in a very negative or toxic environment, usually with other people, and it's usually because other people have been treating us badly, bullying us, trying to control us, maybe abusing us, or just behaving in a very cutthroat manner where like they don't care about our feelings. They're willing to step all over us to get to wherever they want to go, willing to do or say whatever they want to kind of make themselves feel superior, or it's that kind of situation. And the next card we have here is the Temperance card. And I thought it was interesting when this card came up. The very first thing that I noticed with this card, and this is something I usually notice with this card, and I want to say it's like I'm being directed to it again because it might be something that is comforting to hear. You are being divinely protected. You do have a guardian angel. There's this figure on the Temperance card is a guardian angel, and you can see it has wings, and so I want to relay that message. You are being divinely protected. You have a guardian angel who's watching out for you despite these negative things that are happening and your experiences with these people in your life. You are still being protected, and the message of the Temperance card, for me, like the key word is balance. However, there can be a few different interpretations here. This card can talk about needing to try different ways to find a balance in our life, and that can be a balance like a work-life balance, balancing conflicting energies, balancing different parts of our personality, maybe like figuring out time management skills, balancing self-care with taking care of other people or taking care of our responsibilities. However that would apply to you, I think the Temperance card being here in relation to the Five of Swords reversed might be an indication that you might be somebody who has like a kind of caretaker personality and might have been taken advantage of by other people in your life. They might have seen that you were very caring and had a big heart, and might have taken a lot of your energy away. With the Temperance card here, I think you're being urged to take your energy back, and there is a message with this card sometimes about a need to forgive ourselves and forgive other people, step back into our own energy, figure out what's going to work for us, because that is the way to kind of move towards whatever the greater good is for everybody. I said this a lot, and I believe it to be true. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so if you have been through a situation where people have taken advantage of your kind nature and kind of taken your energy away from you, you're being urged to figure out how to be in a place where you still are able to help other people, but in a way where you're also taking care of yourself, if that resonates for you. The basic message of the Temperance card can also just be about it, like engaging in self-care, and making sure to prioritize taking care of yourself. And that can be like just simple things like getting enough sleep, eating enough food, eating nutritious food, drinking water, just like on the very basic level, like prioritizing, literally taking care of yourself, whatever that means for you. I will say with the rest of the cards in this reading here, I'm getting a message from your higher self here. They want you to be careful. And that, I guess, is kind of a vibe associated with Temperance. It's about figuring out, using trial and error to figure out what works best for you before moving forward into the next thing. Because you do have a new beginning coming. I'm seeing that here. However, there's, I think, a subtle warning here about being in the right energy before you take that step forward, needing to be in the right energy, and that might take some figuring out. And so I think you're being urged to kind of give yourself the time to figure out what works for you, how to manage your energy here, how to balance things in the right way for you. And I'm saying that because we have the Fool in reverse, and then right next to that we have the Ace of Swords. So the Fool is the very first card in the tarot deck. And when it's upright, it usually is, we're excited to begin a new journey. We're in a beginner's mind. We have a carefree attitude. We're just willing to go wherever the road takes us. And that can be a beautiful energy to be in. However, when it is reversed, it does carry a warning about looking before you leap and not doing things that are risky or reckless just because you want to get to something else, like just because it's something new, so it is a warning, I think, from your higher self that if you're trying to get away from this Five of Swords reversed, which is fully the right thing to do, they're just, again, I think there's a warning here just to be careful, and to again take the time to figure out the right balance of things for you instead of just stepping forward without looking where you're going. And, I think specifically because we have the Ace of Swords upright as your next card, I think this could also be saying, like, this is just, I think, about the energy that you're in. I don't know that there's going to be, a specific event that your higher self is warning you against, like, don't do this. I think it is really about just being in that kind of reckless energy. And I could understand being in that energy if, the Five of Swords reverse might have put you into maybe a self-destructive phase. And I think your higher self is encouraging you to kind of step away from that, step away from the emotional reaction there, and maybe try to find a balance between the rational and logical thing to do and following your intuition towards what you is right for you. And part of that is going to be getting away from this Five of Swords reverse. Like, I fully believe you're being asked to move away from that. However, there's a warning here about being in the right kind of energy before you do. And I'm saying that also because the Ace of Swords is a positive message about starting a new cycle in your life. Especially if we have the Five of Swords reverse, as the Ace of Swords is like you're starting a new cycle of swords. And that the intuitive interpretation that came into my head was starting with a new way of thinking, like restructuring your thought and belief system, and you're starting again at the Ace with just like a new way of thinking. That's what came to me, because it is a sword suit associated with our intellectual mind, and like our thought process. And there's, on this card, I would say that it's a very mind-oriented card, and I think this card also is associated with clear and direct communication. However, another reason why I was kind of harping on so much about this warning in the Fool reversed is because there is usually also a warning with the Ace of Swords to choose your words carefully. There's a need to be careful about what you say when this card comes up, regardless of whether it's upright or reversed. And so that's why I'm kind of bringing that up as like, I think it's important to do what is best for yourself in this situation. However, you might need to detach emotionally from whatever is happening from in the Five of Swords reversed, however that looks like for you, because I could see you making an emotional decision in the Fool reversed, and maybe saying some things that like the message I'm getting is not necessarily just that you would regret what you said, because especially if you're speaking the truth, even if it's hurting somebody else, like it's still okay to speak your authentic truth. The message I'm getting here is that it might actually be dangerous to do that right now, in a way that's going to end up like hurting you. It's going to come back to hurt you. So you're being urged to just be careful about what you say. And it's perfectly valid to fully be planning to move away from this Five of Swords reverse situation, and to do that for you, because that's what you need in this situation. And to not tell a soul about it. If that's what you need to do in order to protect yourself, I think that is what kind of you're being urged to do. There might be people in your life who you need to put on like an information diet, or like fully detach from here, and just like say, okay, I don't have to explain myself to you. I don't, and to just even like not even say that, and that came across actually as probably more confrontational here. It could just be like, I'm moving in a new direction. And just like full stop, you don't need to, what's the acronym? JADE, justify, argue, defend, explain. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You are fully valid to move forward into the next phase of your life and away from this negative energy here. And you're being encouraged to do that. However, because we also have the last card in your reading is the King of Swords, and I would see this, I'm interpreting the court cards, I think, for most of these piles, as this is representing your energy here in the King of Swords. And I would say this as, you're going to be ready for this next phase with the Ace of Swords. And I think your higher self is urging you to be in a King of Swords energy, which is an energy that is not making decisions based on emotion. You figured it with the Temperance card, you figured out what you need in this situation and how to kind of balance that with your responsibilities, with your self-care. And you're ready to make a decision based on the logical right course of action and what is going to be best for everybody in this situation, yourself included. The King of Swords takes care of himself. And again, like regardless of gender, I would see the King of Swords being your energy, like the energy that your higher self is encouraging you to embrace in this situation. Whereas the energy of the Fool reversed would be probably a lot more emotional. And maybe being in that kind of, instead of being carefree, it's more like being careless. But the King of Swords is not somebody who's careless at all. The King of Swords is somebody who sees things very clearly, communicates exactly what they want and need, is kind of like a no-nonsense about, getting their needs met and following through on whatever plans they have. The King of Swords always has a plan, and is somebody who really makes decisions based on logics based on logic and rational thought, rather than, like, the King of Swords does have emotions, right? But they don't let themselves be ruled by their emotions. They can have an emotional reaction and then say, okay, I'm validating my own feelings. However, I'm not going to act on that, or I'm not going to kind of lash out due to emotion. I'm going to process what I'm feeling and then use my brain to figure out what to do next. There's also a message with the King of Swords. If whatever's going on with this Five of Swords reversed in your life has to do with a belief system, which was what I was intuiting with the Ace of Swords card here, the King of Swords is somebody who looks for the truth, right? And they're not going to trust what somebody else tells them. They're going to look for their own truth, like look for their own evidence, basically, to support whatever is being said to them, instead of just taking it on somebody's word. The King of Swords is somebody who might challenge their own belief system if they realize that, oh, this is just what somebody's been telling me. I need to go out and find my own evidence to kind of verify that or not. And the King of Swords, somebody who absolutely is capable of changing their mind based on receiving conflicting information. And so I don't know if that resonates for you, but there might be like a need to examine some beliefs here that might help you get to a new beginning in terms of thought processes, decision making, taking a step forward, and being able to communicate your thoughts, ideas, and even your feelings. Swords all about communication, and a new beginning in Swords can also talk about being able to speak up, maybe in a way that we have not always been able to do that. And I also, as soon as I said that, I was drawn to the fact that the King of Swords card is that kind of blue color that is associated with the throat chakra. So if your higher self is urging you to be in a King of Swords energy, there's also a need to speak your truth and assert your truth. However, the King of Swords is also somebody who's, doesn't speak kind of unnecessarily. So I would also follow that piece of advice. If you're about to kind of, even like in a defensive way, if you're about to kind of say something emotional, there's a warning it might be the best idea to kind of hold your tongue about it, keep it to yourself, and just be very, very careful about the words that you choose here. So I felt urged to reiterate that, especially if the people in your life are really toxic. Like, it makes sense not giving them any more ammunition. It's just like, nope, I'm gonna shut that off. Like, we don't even need to engage on this, if that makes sense. So I also want to point out, I'm getting a lot of things. This might be a longer pile, and that's okay. I also want to point out that the King of Swords also carries a message sometimes that it's okay to go through something on your own. Because the King of Swords doesn't mind solitude. I would see him on this card sitting at the top of a mountain, or like in a mountain range, kind of seeing, like, he can see very clearly, he can see for miles, there's kind of that clear mountain air, and I would see him being in solitude. However, there's lots of animals, animals around him. We have a raven, a bat, and an owl. There might be other animals that I'm not seeing right now, but I would take that as a message that it's okay to be alone for a little while if you need to separate from certain people in order to get to your Ace of Swords. It's okay to do that, because you're never truly alone. Because I would interpret these animals being here, this is your spirit guides. They might appear to you as animals, specifically birds or a bat. I don't think a bat is a mammal, I think. But they're always with you, and they might appear to you as birds or animals, however that applies to you. So your spirit guides are with you. They're guiding you. You are being divinely protected. You have a guardian angel here showing up in the Temperance card, who is probably going to help you try to find that balance that you might be looking for in order to get to your Ace of Swords here. And so I did mention at the top of the reading that there might have potentially been a different interpretation of all of these cards here. I want to say I that's not the intuitive interpretation that I got, but I feel like I'm being compelled to mention it just because it might apply to some people who are watching. So the second interpretation that I was getting is this Five of Swords reversed might be talking about your energy. So it could be saying you might have been, or you might currently be, just coming out of a phase in your life where you might have been the bully, or somebody who was very cutthroat, or somebody who was in more of a negative, toxic space, especially around other people. You might be coming from a place where you were just in like a very imbalanced Swords energy, where you might have been willing to do whatever you needed to do to succeed, to the detriment of other people in your life. Only take that if it resonates. This is, again, I'm not getting this as an intuitive reading. It was just another interpretation I wanted to throw out there. So if that does apply to you, then I think the advice, honestly, is largely the same. However, it's just seen through a slightly different lens, where, you're, if that is your energy, this might be a case where you're being urged to kind of maybe the Temperance card is talking about maybe doing some like anger management exercises, or anything that's going to help you kind of help regulate your emotional responses to things. Actually, that interpretation could apply to the first way of reading it regardless, because that could be definitely an association with a Temperance card, and there was a lot of encouragement not to act out of emotion here, and to embrace a more logical mindset here. So if that is something that you are struggling with, is kind of regulating your emotional responses to things, I think that is something you're being encouraged to maybe seek help or assistance for, even if it's just like looking for information online, looking for a support group. There's lots of like free resources online for that sort of thing. Or if going to therapy might be helpful, finding a support group of other people in your area, whatever is helpful for you, I think you're being encouraged to do that, so that you can once again start over with the Ace of Swords, figure out a new way to deal with your thoughts and feelings that's maybe not so unregulated, I guess would be the word to use. If that applies to you, if that makes sense for you. So that was the other interpretation that I wanted to give, in case that applies to you. Because the Five of Swords reverse can say both things. It can say, we're in a toxic environment surrounded by toxic people. It can say maybe we are in a toxic energy. So it's like either, we're being bullied, we are the bully, and so again, take that however that applies to you. With all of that said, I hope I didn't forget anything, as I was getting a lot of messages, but with all of that said, I'm going to move into the Oracle card part of your reading today, pile 3, and I'll just get that set up. Okay, pile 3, so here we have your Oracle cards, and I do want to say that I think my initial intuitive interpretation of your tarot cards was probably correct, based on the cards that we have here, or at least it might have been more accurate for the majority of you, but again, just take whatever resonates. So right off the bat, there's just a clear and simple message here from your higher self. You are good enough. If you've been struggling with, and I could understand why with that Five of Swords reverse, but if you've been struggling with self-esteem or feelings of worthiness, or you feeling like you don't deserve to move on to something else, or maybe if we could interpret that Fool reversed energy as maybe a self-destructive thing, maybe if you feel like you don't deserve to take care of yourself, or however that might manifest for you, this is a direct message from your higher self. You are good enough. You do deserve to get away from that Five of Swords reversed energy. You deserve a new beginning. You are a King of Swords. It's just about stepping into that energy, that you are already good enough, and you do deserve the good things in life that you want, and you don't deserve what is happening to you with the Five of Swords reversed. And there is a gentle encouragement here from your higher self as well, with the Work Through Your Fears card, the New Moon in Scorpio, that if the self-esteem and worthiness message is resonating for you, you might have like a fear of success, or a fear of confrontation, especially if you've been dealing with this Five of Swords reverse, so the people in your life sound really difficult to deal with. So it would make sense that would engender a lot of fear in you. However, you are being encouraged to work through that stuff with a patient kind of steady approach with the Temperance card. And that's I think it's needs to be something that is deliberate on your part, rather than something that is emotionally driven, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that well. It made sense in my head. Either way, I would say your Moonology cards here. The other one was Full Moon in Virgo. I don't remember if I said that. But with your Moonology cards here, the message I'm hearing is that you absolutely deserve to have your Ace of Swords. However, you are going to have to make some changes, probably in your belief system. And that's going to be something that's going to have to come from you. And that's going to require a certain level of courage in facing your fears, whatever they are. And I think something that might be helpful, I did mention support groups, therapy, talking to people, looking for resources online, and probably self-esteem exercises such as affirmations. I know they've been very helpful for me, extremely helpful. And I felt really goofy doing it the first time, but I was amazed by how much of a difference it has made for me. Is just saying affirmations in front of the mirror. That really has helped me a lot, and that might be something That might be helpful for you too. I feel like these messages are all very connected, and I want to say, with the confusion card here and the child magical shadow attribute coming out, I feel the need to reiterate, your spirit guides are always with you and they love you, even when you can't see, feel, or hear them or their support. You do have spiritual support and you're being divinely protected, even and especially when it doesn't feel like it. And I know that can be difficult and frustrating to hear. I know I've gone through periods of my life where I really just had to take it on faith that my spirit guides were there and that they were listening to me, especially when I couldn't see the path forward. And there were times in my life when I felt like I'm doing everything I need to be doing. I'm trying my hardest to connect to spirit and I'm not getting anything back, and I felt like abandoned. And that can be the message of this confusion card, is when we're feeling like that. However, the message of this card is your spirit guides are with you. And you might be in this moment right now being put in a situation where you are unsure of their presence, specifically because they want you to move forward on faith, like to keep moving forward on your path. You need to be the one to take those steps, there is an assurance here that your spirit guides have not abandoned you. They are with you and you are being divinely supported. I mean, the fog on this confusion card is a message that you might be feeling like you're confused, like you don't know where to go or which way to go or what is the truth. Like what especially if you have people in your life who are lying to you or trying to manipulate you in some way, there might be like a message here to keep moving towards that Ace of Swords. And it's something that you need to take those steps towards. And the reason why I'm kind of reiterating that these steps forward need to come from you is I'm not trying to come across as being judgmental or saying like you're not doing anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a message repeated in several cards that we've gotten today that is specifically about continuing to take steps forward, and that being something that even when you don't have faith that you're going to get to where you want to go, it's still important to take those steps. And that's, I think, part of working through your fears is continuing to walk through the fog even when you can't see the path, with the faith that eventually you will get to a place where you can see the path again, if that makes sense. And that I'm reiterating that because I'm really sorry if you can hear my cat. He's going nuts, but the shadow attributes of the child magical card say pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. And so this card, I think, is saying, I could understand feeling depressed, feeling pessimistic, and not believing in miracles if you've been really going through it with that Five of Swords reversed. However, there's a specific message with this card. The way to get out of that is by stepping into your power to change the power that you have to change your circumstances. And part of that is needing to change your own mindset. Instead of waiting for an external circumstance to come along and take you out of that Five of Swords reversed, that's something I think that you're going to need to decide to do yourself. And I want to remind you, you are good enough. You do have the resources that you need, the strength of will, the courage to make that new start happen for yourself. And a big part of that is just faith. It's cultivating faith and cultivating that belief that you can get to where you want to go if you actively take a step towards working through your fears, especially the fear of success, especially the fear of confronting other people, especially the fear of setting healthy boundaries, whatever that means for you, whatever you need to do. And if there's also a fear here maybe about not knowing what the truth is, about being confused, the message here is you will absolutely get to where you want to go. And that includes having a lot of mental clarity, because we had the Ace of Swords and the King of Swords. Both represent very clear mental clarity, but you know what I mean. The Ace of Swords is when we're like having like so many ideas and we can see things really clearly. The King of Swords is somebody who sitting on top of that mountain can see for miles, just like no confusion, no fog. You're going to get through it, and I'm seeing that because we have the completion card as your last oracle card here. And we had the ace. You are going to end whatever this cycle is. You don't even need to go all the way to the Ten of Swords. You can end it right at the 5 reversed and start something new with the ace. You are going to get to that completion here. And there might be, this card sometimes carries a message about needing to let go. So if that's part of what is going on for you in your situation, is that maybe you might have been hesitant to move towards the Ace of Swords, the new beginning, because you felt like you weren't ready to let go of the 5 of Swords reversed. That's something that you are being encouraged to work on. And that might be part of working through your fears, is letting go of whatever the last thing was so that you can start again in a new cycle with a new belief system, a new communication style, whatever that means for you. There's a sun coming up over that horizon. You can end this cycle right here and start something new for yourself in that King of Swords energy. And I do want to reiterate something that I think I did fail to mention in the previous part of the reading, was the Fool reversed also carries it is. I was getting that message about not being reckless, making emotional decisions very strongly, which was why I kept harping on about it. However, there is also a message with the Fool reversed about hesitating to take a step forward, even though we know it's the right thing to do. So that might be something that also resonates for you here, and it might be because you're feeling confused. However, the message, if you are in that confusion, first of all, your spirit guides are with you, and you are going to get to your completion. Secondly, it might be time to with the Temperance card, take some time out and try to find a balance between what you're feeling and what you're thinking, so that you can figure out how to balance things so that you can get to your Ace of Swords, if that makes sense. That is how I'm being called to interpret that. So I think the message here is just in general, you're going to be okay. Your spirit guides are with you. Your higher self wants you to know that you are being divinely protected and divinely guided, even when it doesn't feel like it, doesn't seem like it, that there may be something that you need to change, and it could just be your mindset, or something that you need to either step away from or step towards, and you're being encouraged to take those steps, even though it might be scary, even though you might be feeling pessimistic about getting to the outcome that you want, or getting away from that 5 of Swords reversed. It might be feeling like I just can't escape it. It's too entrenched in my life. The message I'm getting is you absolutely can. You can begin again in a different energy. It's okay to step away from whatever that toxic situation was or is. And if you work through your fears, I think you'll get to a place where you can flip this child magical card upside down and start believing in miracles again, because you are good enough. You deserve to move away from that 5 of Swords reversed energy. You deserve to live the life that you want. You deserve to work through your fears so you can get to a place where you can let go of the past thing and start something new. And so you can embrace your inner King of Swords, put that crown on your head, and move forward into the next cycle of your life, knowing your worth. So I hope that this reading was helpful today, pile 3. If you did like the video, feel free to give it a like. Please comment down below. Let me know how it resonated for you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to put out a couple more videos before January, but I will see how it goes. I have to, I can't preach about listening to your body and stuff like that if I'm not willing to listen to my body. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, I am very happy that you are here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Hello, pile 4, and welcome to your reading. If you chose the word sing, then this is your reading for today. And I want to say, if there's a connection between your cards here today and the word sing, the way that I would see that being connected is, I think there's a message here about needing to speak your authentic truth, like needing to be genuine about the things that you say. So it's about using your voice in a genuine, helpful way. if that makes sense. I think that that would be connected with the word sing here. I think there is a message about authenticity. And I'll explain what I mean when I get into the cards here. So first of all, the first two cards we have here, I do want to say I just looked at the clock and it said 11:11. So if that is something that is meaningful for you, I just wanted to add that. And then I want to say when I pull two court cards that are like equals, like if I pull two kings or two queens or two pages, and one of them is upright and the other one is reversed, usually I take that as a message from spirit about we want to avoid or move away from the energy of whichever court card is reversed and move towards the energy of whichever court card is upright. So I was thinking that the way I would normally interpret this is your higher self is trying to tell you, we don't want you in this Queen of Wands reversed energy. We want you in this Queen of Swords upright energy. However, I'm being called to read this like slightly differently. I think that it's very likely that this Queen of Wands reversed is not referring to your energy. I think that this is referring to a figure in your life. And I think that you are being encouraged to embrace the Queen of Swords energy. And I'm saying that because the way the cards are set up, I feel like this Queen of Wands reversed is looking at the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords has kind of like turned her back, and so I think that there may be a message here from your higher self that this might be something that you're currently doing. This might be something that you have already done, or this might be something that you are being encouraged to start to do, is to try to distance yourself from this Queen of Wands reversed in your life. And I'll explain some of the personality traits here that are being associated with these two cards. So the Queen of Wands reversed is somebody who, the basic way to see this card for me would be somebody who uses their social skills or their social status for evil, essentially. Like they will gossip about people behind their back. They play mind games with people, usually like if there's a group of friends, they're the one who's trying to manipulate everybody. They're willing to speak down to people and bully people verbally, usually verbally, but maybe in other ways. This is somebody who gossips, tells lies about other people, and is unfortunately usually charismatic in the way that they can usually get whatever they want from, like they can be very charming when they want something out of somebody, but then they'll just as easily turn their back on that person when they don't need them anymore, if that makes sense. Like this is kind of the mean girl of the tarot, the Queen of Wands reversed. And what I'm seeing is that scene from the movie Mean Girls where they did that like 3-way telephone attack, I think they called it. And that is something that is very much in this Queen of Wands reversed wheelhouse. Like that is something that it's not only that they would do that, but they would delight in doing something like that. Like that is 100% in alignment with this person's personality. And I would associate this with narcissists, social climbers, anybody who's willing to kind of step over somebody else to get what they want. So take that however it resonates for you. If you do have like a Queen of Wands reversed in your life, it could be a specific person, or it could be maybe like a group of people. Either way, spending time with this person I think is probably pretty emotionally confusing at the very least, and toxic and unpleasant at the worst. I could see that a Queen of Wands reverse really destroying somebody's self-esteem, and they would do that on purpose. Like the Queen of Wands reverse does not have good intentions. So if you recognize that as somebody in your life, then the message from your higher self here is the word I heard was rejection. Like we just need to reject. We need to turn our back on whoever this person or group of people is, and to just cut off our energy from them. Because I would see this Queen of Swords on this card is not given the Queen of Wands reversed at the time of day. Like she just could not care less. Or at the very least, the Queen of Swords is kind of gonna fake it till she makes it. In that, like, I'm not giving this Queen of Wands reversed any more of my energy. And I know eventually I will stop feeling compelled to do that because I'm just going to put the boundary in right now, if that makes sense. So I would take that as advice from your higher self to try to detach emotionally from whoever this Queen of Wands reversed is. I know that is easier said than done. However, that is the energy of the Queen of Swords, is somebody who is independent, who knows exactly who she is. She knows what she wants. She knows what her goals are. She has very clear intentions. She sets very healthy boundaries with other people. She's not reliant on anybody else emotionally or in any other sense. And she's just somebody who's like very, energy is very self-contained. That, I guess, is how I would put that. And if you feel like you already are in this energy, you've already made a separation from the Queen of Wands reversed in your life, then this would be a confirmation from your higher self that yes, that was the right thing to do. Like fully, it's you're being validated and supported in making that decision. It's definitely the right thing to do. And the Queen of Swords, even if you feel like it might not come naturally to you to cut somebody off emotionally or to be in a more logical and rational mindset rather than emotion-based mindset, even if that doesn't come naturally to you, it's something that I think that you're being encouraged to practice, if that makes sense. Because I also want to say, so when these cards came out, I think the way that they're laid out here is very important to how I'm going to read them, because I also see the Queen of Swords kind of staring down the barrel of 3 cards that are reversed here and thinking to yourself, okay, I've gotten away from this Queen of Wands reversed in my life, so how am I going to put these 3 reversed energies or blocked energies here, how am I going to unblock them so that I can move forward? You know, how am I going to face these 3 obstacles in a rational and practical way? Like, how can I move these obstacles out of my way? And the Queen of Swords knows that she's going to do that. That it's not a question of whether she's going to do that, it's a question of how. And so if that's something that you have been struggling with or asking for help with or confused about, then I think the crux of the advice here from your higher self, it all comes back to that Queen of Swords. And I'll explain what I mean. So we do have the 5 of Pentacles reversed, and I would understand being in this energy. If you have been dealing with the Queen of Wands reversed, it's possible that they made you feel very left out, like you don't have the resources you need. They might have really done damage to your self-esteem. It could be that they told you that you were not good enough, and they could have abandoned you and just excluded you in a way that was very hurtful. And that could have contributed to being in a 5 of Pentacles energy, and this card being reversed can be an indication that all of those feelings are very amplified, like those feelings of isolation, hopelessness, abandonment. That they could be like you're feeling things very strongly right now, and that's okay. It's okay to have emotions and feel things. You know, the Queen of Swords has emotions. It's just she doesn't let her emotional side make decisions for her, right? So, like it's okay to process what happened here in a healthy way. However, it can become unhealthy when we stay in that energy for too long, which can sometimes be associated with this card being reversed, can be staying in that energy for longer than is healthy. So only take that message if it applies to you, because there's a couple other interpretations too when this card comes out reversed. And one of them is, it is possible that you might have reached out for help in some way, and it's possible that you might have reached out to the wrong person. And it could be that the wrong person was this Queen of Wands reversed, and you didn't know at the time that they were the wrong person to ask for help, because they had either had no intention of helping, or their help came with strings attached, or a lot of emotional manipulation, or like something negative came out of that, or they didn't help at all, right? So that could be a potential interpretation here, and that could be contributing to feelings of hurt and hopelessness, because it's like I did what I was supposed to do. I asked for help, and it came back and bit me, you know. And so I could understand being in that 5 of Pentacles reversed if that applies to you. And if that is the case for you, I think the message of the Queen of Swords here might be, it's perfectly valid and sometimes extremely necessary to ask for that help. And sometimes in other situations, it's important to rely on ourselves. And it seems like the Queen of Swords is somebody who is self-reliant. So it might be the case that your higher self is saying to you, you might have asked for help. This Queen of Wands reversed might have told you might either have not helped you, or told you that you weren't good enough, or told you that you didn't have the resources to get where you wanted to go, or that you would never get there, or whatever they said to you. Your higher self is saying that's not true. It's absolutely not true, because I want to point out one of my favorite things about the Five of Pentacles card in this deck is that there's a figure sitting in front of a locked door, and she's like despairing about the fact that she can't get through this door, and she's been left out. She's outside the door, but there's a key sitting, leaning up against the door. And so there sometimes is also a message. You do have the resources that you need to get to where you want to go. If you do choose to go through this door, it might just be a matter of, you might not have been looking in the right place. You might have been focused on maybe the emotional aspects of what was happening here, when you're being asked to, okay, let's take a step back from our emotional reaction here, get into our Queen of Swords energy, and start to think, okay, if there was a key, if there was a resource here, if there was something here that I'm not seeing, let's sit down and think about and try to puzzle out, is there somewhere else I can go to get the help that I need? Is there some other resource that I haven't tapped into or I haven't even looked at yet that can get me where I need to go? It's about, I think, being in a very kind of practical problem-solving energy, because the message from your higher self with this card, I just want to reiterate, is that you do have the resources that you need to get out of this Five of Pentacles reversed energy, if that is the energy you're currently in. So I would interpret that as kind of the advice for the first of these three obstacles. Then we have the Seven of Cups reversed. And this card, like the Seven of Cups, talks about having options. When it's reversed, it can talk about being so overwhelmed by our options or the choices in front of us, or just feeling confused or unfocused, like unable to focus enough to make a choice. I think it's very important to reiterate the message that I usually say when this card comes up. I feel the need to say, no cup is better or worse than any other cup. They're just different, right? So there's a message I feel compelled to say when this card comes up. You cannot take a wrong turn here. And I think that might be something else that your higher self is trying to communicate. Whatever you're confused about, even if it is just like confused about how you feel, it's first of all okay to feel confused. And secondly, there's a message here that whichever cup you pick, it's gonna be okay, because there's not, your higher self isn't saying there's one right option or two right options and one wrong option. It's saying you might be feeling overwhelmed by your options, but every option here is valid. So I don't know if someone needed to hear that, but I wanted to say it. The other thing, if that's not resonating for you, the other interpretation when this card comes out can be that if you are already in this Queen of Swords energy and you feel like you're thinking very clearly and you feel like you do have a clarity of purpose, then this could just be a confirmation from your higher self that you're on the right path. Like, it's great. It's great that you have that clarity of purpose, and that you've been able to get away from that confusion or analysis paralysis, however that resonates for you. And if that's not resonating for you and you still do feel kind of unfocused or confused, don't know where to go next, don't know maybe how you're feeling about things, then I would say there might be practical advice with the Queen of Swords card. Something that was coming to me was, it might be an idea even just to write down what your options are, and then to maybe make like a pros and cons list, like to approach it like very methodically, very practically, because the Queen of Swords is somebody who makes decisions based on reason and logic and not on emotions. So again, I want to reiterate, there is a message here about a need to kind of detach a little bit from the emotional side in order to figure out what to do next. And in order to be able to move forward and to move away from this Queen of Wands reversed. Because this Queen of Wands reversed knows how to play on your emotions to get you to do what they want. Like if they might approach you and try to come back into your life, and they might be very good at kind of pulling you back because they know how to play on your emotions. However, if you're in your Queen of Swords energy and you're like, I'm not being controlled by my emotions, I'm going to make whatever the next best decision is based on what's best for me, based on, my pros and cons list that I made, then that's a powerful energy to be in. And I think that might be part of the advice from your higher self here. So just take whatever resonates here. It is possible some of you might still be feeling confused or like you have too many choices, and some of you might have already kind of gotten past that phase, in which case it would just be a kudos from your higher self. And either way, again, I think that the way around the obstacle of the Seven of Cups reversed is by taking a practical approach towards examining what your options are. And there might be something else that just came to me is the Queen of Swords is also a very clear communicator. So there might be, if the writing things down thing doesn't work for you, if that's not how your brain operates, then there might be advice to find somebody that you do trust in your life, or maybe like a neutral third party, or maybe strangers on the internet who don't have an emotional stake in what's going on, and maybe try and get some third party advice, or talk it through with somebody. That might be something that's more helpful for you than writing things down. So just take whatever resonates for you. And then we have the Magician in reverse, and there are several different interpretations when this card comes up reversed. The first thing that always pops into my head is, for whatever reason, our ability to step into our personal power and manifest the outcome that we want is being blocked. It's being blocked either by ourselves or by some third force, or both, whatever resonates for you. When this card comes out, it can talk about not believing in our ability to move forward or get the outcome that we want. It can talk about like negative self-beliefs, negative self-talk, which again would make sense if we've been dealing with the Queen of Wands reverse. Maybe there's been somebody in your life who's been really kind of denigrating your self-esteem and making you feel really bad about yourself. And there might be things that you might not even have realized that you might have internalized about what they said. And I think that this might be an encouragement from your higher self to start working on letting some of that stuff go. And if the advice here is the Queen of Swords, might be a message to try to find the truth of the matter. Don't take this Queen of Wands reverse word for it. Really try and examine it for yourself. Does it feel true, these things that this person is saying, or are they playing on your fears? Your fears are not the truth of the situation. So there could be just a message just to re-examine some of your self-beliefs if you've been struggling with things like self-esteem issues or worthiness or belief in your power, to change your circumstances, if that resonates for you. There's also a message with this card about not using the resources or tools that you have. And I think that's interesting because that's also kind of echoing the thing that I said about the Five of Pentacles reversed, that the fact that the key is right there. So there could be a tool or a resource that you might not have looked into yet. You might not even kind of be aware that that's an option for you. And if that's the case, then I think the message here is just to do a little bit more research in terms of your tools or resources that you might have. And if it's related to this idea of negative self-beliefs, then it could be a message that you are more resourceful than you think you are, you're stronger than you think you are, you do have the power and the tools and the ability to make things work for yourself, because you are a queen, and you're a balanced queen, you're a queen upright. You're not like this Queen of Wands reversed. You're you're really embracing your queen energy and using it for positive purposes. You deserve to wear that crown. And so if that's something that you've been struggling with, then it might be an idea to look into resources about working on self-esteem issues, if that resonates for you. There's also another message with this card sometimes about, because the Magician upright is somebody who is stepping into their personal power. When it comes out reversed, it can talk about being in an energy that's a little bit too passive in terms of waiting for other people to make decisions for us. And the Queen of Swords is somebody who is very decisive. She makes decisions based on logic and reason, and it's like once the most logical option becomes clear to her, she's like, okay, great, let's do it. Let's move forward with it. We don't need to be in analysis paralysis. We can let's just make the decision, and then we'll deal with whatever happens after that. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I think the message from your higher self here is just to try to move away from an energy of like waiting for other people to make choices for you, and try to just be like, even just practice, one like little baby step at a time, trying to be a little bit more assertive in terms of having your needs met and getting what you want out of the situation. And like, even if the first decision you make is something that's like as simple as which restaurant you want to eat at or something like that, I think just practicing that is going to help you get into your Queen of Swords energy. And it's going to help you turn your magician right side up, because when we start using our voice to sing into the universe about the things that we like and the things that we want, and really putting that out into the universe and using that as a tool in our relationships with other people, then it just puts us into a higher vibrational energy that allows us to manifest more of the things that we want, if that makes sense. And the final interpretation of the Magician reverse that I want to give here, it could be that only one of these interpretations resonates for you. It could be that they all resonate for you. Again, just take whatever resonates. I just don't want to leave anything out. There could be a message with the Magician reverse that there's somebody in your life who is not allowing you to step into your personal power, which would again make sense with this Queen of Wands reversed. The Queen of Wands reversed is somebody who wants all the power for herself. And she would be invested in, standing in your way and trying to convince you that you don't have what it takes to outshine her or move past her or cut her out of your life or whatever needs to happen here. So she's invested in telling you things that are not true in order to get you to be in a more passive energy where you're not stepping into your power, because that benefits her. She doesn't care about you. It benefits her if you're not embracing your Queen of Swords energy, if you're not embracing your magician energy and your ability to manifest things. I also want to point out the Queen of Swords, it might feel like, because I have said she's self-reliant, she's not looking to other people for validation. And there might be a need to separate yourself a little bit from other people right now if that is causing confusion or hurt feelings, or making you feel bad about yourself. There might be a need to isolate a little bit. However, this Queen of Swords is not totally alone, because you can see on the card there's a raven flying by, and ravens are a symbol of like a spiritual messenger. So if you need to hear this, that there's a message. First of all, you're not going to be alone forever. If you are feeling isolated, like in that Five of Pentacles reversed energy, first of all, you're not going to be alone forever. And secondly, you're never actually 100% alone, because you always have your spirit guides with you. So if that's something that somebody needed to hear, I wanted to throw that in there. And then, again, just to reiterate, I think that the advice from your higher self is actually pretty straightforward here. It is really just a message. The way that I'm kind of interpreting it is it's really just a message from your higher self to embrace yourself as the Queen of Swords. Try to distance yourself from your emotional reactions to things. Try to get into a more logical and rational mindset. Embrace your intellect, embrace your inner knowing. The other thing that I forgot to mention is it is also okay if you've been trying to kind of reason out something and it's just not working for you. It's also okay to listen to your gut. The Queen of Swords does make decisions based on rational, logical things. However, she also is somebody who would listen to her inner intuition. So if that is something that is helpful for you, like if you're in the Seven of Cups reversed energy and you don't know which cup to pick, and there's one cup that either like it doesn't feel quite right, or a cup where you just feel drawn to it kind of inexplicably, it's also okay to listen to that, to listen to your inner guidance there. So just take that however it resonates. However, the way I'm seeing this is this Queen of Swords has turned her back on this Queen of Wands reversed, who is doing her no favors, and she's looking at these 3 cards in front of her and saying, okay, what can I do about this? How can I shift this energy? How can I change this energy so that I can get the things that I want out of my life? So I hope that message is helpful for you today, pile 4. I am going to move on to the oracle cards part of the reading, and so I'll just go get that set up. All right, pile 4. So here we have your oracle cards. And I want to say, when I first pulled the cards, I was a little bit confused, and then I brought it back to the meaning of the tarot cards, and it started to make a lot more sense. So the first 2 cards we have for you here are the Moonology cards, and you have take time to breathe out with the disseminating moon, and it's time to take action with the new moon in Aries. And at first I was like, this feels kind of like a conflicting energy. However, it doesn't need to be. And I think in your case, it's not really a conflict. I think that you're being encouraged with take time to breathe out. I think especially the breathe out in combination with the word release, I think that you need to give yourself time to get to a place where you can release whatever was happening here with that Queen of Wands reversed. I think it's important to, that Queen of Swords is somebody who is decisive and is ready to take action. However, she gives herself time to think it through to get to a place where she feels confident about making that decision. And I think that you're being given encouragement to give yourself the time to puzzle out how to work through the things in your life. And when you've come to that place where you're like, okay, I have a possible way to move forward here, it's important to then go ahead and do that. Like, just take, like, when you've come to a place where it's like, okay, I have the possibility to make a decision here, you're being encouraged to just take that action, take a step forward. And I want to reiterate the message of the 7 of Cups reversed, that none of the cups are inherently better or worse. That there's no real way to take a wrong turn here, because the act of taking an action, especially if it's an action that takes you away from that Queen of Wands reversed, is a step onto the right path, regardless of whatever the details of that path are, if that makes sense. So I think that there's like a combined message here from your higher self. Give yourself the time and space you need in order to detach enough from your emotional body that you are able to step forward and start making more decisions and step into your power. Because this new moon in Aries card, I think it's time to take action. That's like a cardinal energy. It's like a leader kind of energy. It's the Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. It's a new moon. You are able to start a new cycle for yourself. You can reverse that magician card and step into your power, and that's something that you need to do. Like, that's something that has to come from you. That's a choice that you have to make for yourself. And again, I want to reiterate, there's no way for you to take a wrong turn here, because moving forward in any direction is going to be a positive thing. It's going to have a positive outcome as long as you give yourself the time to kind of work through what the next logical choice is, if that makes sense. And the take time to breathe out could also specifically be talking about processing your emotions related to this Queen of Wands reverse. That might be something that you might need to do shadow work about it. It might be an idea to look into whatever resources are available for you in terms of speaking to a therapist or finding a support group, or even, if there are free resources in your area, there might be, we did see in the cards that there might be resources that you're not really aware of, and that regardless, you have the tools that you need in order to get to a place where you are able to step forward away from that Queen of Wands reversed. And I want to say, when the other thing that I was slightly confused about was when the warrior came out with the shadow attributes. And I was like, this doesn't feel like pile 4's energy. It felt like, I was like, this is not your energy, like it intuitively just didn't feel like you. And so I was like, what is this referring to? And then I realized, this warrior reverse is the Queen of Wands reversed. And then I think your chakra cards here are saying we need to work on release and forgiveness related to this shadow warrior who's being represented as the Queen of Wands reversed in your tarot cards. And the shadow attributes of the warrior are trading ethical principles for victory at any cost and indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. And it's like, absolutely, that would be associated with the Queen of Wands reversed. And I would see, again, I was like, usually the attribute cards are related to your energy. However, I think that the advice from your higher self is that it's really, really important to work on forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and forgiveness towards this Queen of Wands reverse, which I'll talk about in a second, and releasing this connection. Like really working on letting go of this person and what they did to you. And I would see this also being connected to that message of the Queen of Swords, needing to take a step back from the emotions involved here so that you can get to a place where you can cut ties with this person. It might require stepping back emotionally. And the release card and the forgiveness card are they have a very integrated message. So the fact that they came out together is like, yeah, they both kind of mean similar things. The release card can come out when we are being encouraged to release a person, release a connection, release a relationship, something that is no longer serving us. And it has, both of these cards actually have a particular message related to family, and particularly family of origin. So it is possible, if you have a Queen of Wands reversed in your life, that they are a family member, possibly a mother or a sister, or, you know, I mean, they don't have to identify as female. It could be just some family figure in your life who was in that Queen of Wands reversed energy. If you have somebody in your family of origin who's in that energy, I can understand why it would be so hard to let go of that. However, with the release card, there is a message that we've been kind of sitting in that energy for a little bit too long, and it is time. You're really being encouraged and urged to just cut it out, like cut that person out, let go of that relationship. And even if it's in a place where it's not necessarily possible for you to totally cut this person out of your life, it's a pretty dramatic step. Like that's pretty much like the nuclear option when it comes to relationships. Even just taking steps towards detaching emotionally, like emotional detachment, even if there's no way for you to avoid this person like forever, trying to work on detaching emotionally from this person is going to be so helpful for you. And I think that it might be an idea to look into things like cord cutting ceremonies, bowl burning ceremonies, anything that's going to help you kind of spiritually release this connection. And maybe even if this is something that resonates for you, maybe just asking your spirit guides for help. Like that Queen of Swords did have that raven flying behind. Like your spirit guides are with you, and it could be a situation where you're being encouraged to kind of really reach out for help. This card is also associated with the crown chakra, so it could be that your spirit guides and your higher self are trying to send you signs and symbols like it's time. You got to let go of this person. You got to step into your own power. You got to start making your own decisions. It's time to kind of detach emotionally from this shadow warrior's hold on you. Just do whatever you can to try to release this connection, I think is what you were really being encouraged to do here. And then that's also tied into the forgiveness card. And I say whenever this card comes out, because I think it's really important, and it's not something that I think we really learn while we're growing up, but it's something that I heard in therapy that really, really helped me understand the nature of forgiveness, is that when we forgive other people, we're not really doing it for them. It's not to absolve them of their sins and say, you really hurt me, but it doesn't matter and I forgive you, or it's not saying that what they did was okay. What they did might never be okay. There might be no universe in which whatever they did was okay. It's still important to work on forgiveness anyway, because forgiveness is how we get to a point of being able to release a connection. When we are holding on to anger or resentment or hurt feelings towards somebody, that is like a spiritual anchor. It's like a spiritual tether to that person. And if we want to be able to to actually like really cut a tie there and fully release their hold on us, then forgiveness is one way to get there, because it can help us release resentment. It can help us process our angry feelings and get through them and say, okay, what you did to me is never going to be okay. It was shitty. It's always going to be shitty. And you might be a bad person for it. I'm forgiving you because I deserve to move on from this connection. I'm going to forgive you in order to release your hold on me. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It's like I'm forgiving you because I deserve to not be tethered to you anymore. And I know that stuff is much, much easier said than done. Forgiveness is a process. It's not like an overnight thing. It's not like one, I made the decision to forgive you and we're all good, and it's, probable that even if we're working towards forgiving somebody, that things might still crop up and like again and again that kind of trigger anger and trigger those feelings. And that's perfectly okay. 100% okay. And if that is happening for you, where you feel like, I've worked so hard on forgiveness, I've worked on releasing this person, and I still feel like, they still trigger me, I still feel those emotions, then I'm being drawn back to the disseminating moon, take time to breathe out. Just give yourself the grace and time to step back, like even if that's like physically removing yourself from the situation, or if it's about like emotional detachment in the moment, it might be an idea to, if it's what you have to do to survive that situation in the moment, it's okay to dissociate a little bit from whatever's happening. Give yourself the time to breathe out and then take some sort of action, whatever that means for you. And again, if you're struggling with forgiveness, if that is something that has been very difficult for you, this card is associated with the third eye chakra. So this could also, again, just be encouragement, meditation, speaking to your spirit guides, asking them for help. Like, please help me forgive this person. Please help me let go of this person so that I can move on. And then your spirit guides do want to help you, and your higher self is here to help you today. And then I also wanted to mention that we do have the throat chakra. I see that those colors, that blue color being here on the Take Time to Breathe Out card. So I would see that being associated with the Queen of Swords and the word sing, right? Sing, the throat chakra. There's a relation there. And the Queen of Swords is a very good communicator, and her card was blue as well. So I think there's an encouragement, as much as you can, whenever it's safe for you to do so, to speak your truth, and whether that is even just saying, I don't have anything to say to you anymore. I don't want to engage with you anymore. I'm not going to argue with you about this. I'm not interested in spending time with you. Whatever you need to say, if that is related to whatever the action is that you need to take, if that's going to help you take steps away from the shadow warrior in your life, you're 100% being encouraged to do that. Speak your truth. Sing it out into the universe, and that's going to help you manifest the things that you want and connections with people who are genuinely in alignment with who you are and who do have your best interests at heart. You have the power to move forward in any direction you want, any way you want. You're being supported by spirit. You're being supported by your higher self. It is absolutely the right decision to move away from anybody who's making you feel like you're not good enough, like you don't have the things that you need, like you're not worthy of moving forward, like you're not worthy of receiving help. Like however this person has made you feel, it's not the truth. You don't need to continue believing that. And when you start stepping into your power and putting that out into the universe, you're going to attract people who will be able to see you for who you truly are. They will love you for who you truly are. And they will not be able to manipulate you the way that the Queen of Wands reversed has. Because you're just not going to be taking any of that BS anymore. And that's, I'm saying that absolutely without judgment. Because that Queen of Wands reverse is like a formidable foe. Like that's somebody you don't even realize is manipulating you. They could manipulate anybody. And I don't want you to be down on yourself thinking like, how did I let this happen? It happened because this person is shitty. I don't know how else to explain. Like, it's not about you. It was not your fault that you ended up in a situation like this. However, you do have the power to get out of it and to get away from it, and that is what your higher self is encouraging you to do. I hope that's been helpful today, Pile 4. If you liked this reading, feel free to give it a like. Please comment down below and let me know how it resonated for you. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, you can subscribe to my channel. And with that said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.